The following presentation was originally prepared as a PowerPoint slideshow and transferred to a VHS tape to allow it to be shown without using a computer. The period of time covered by this presentation is from 1949 until 1999, the 50th anniversary of our church. The contents of this presentation were collected from a variety of sources, including 16mm movie film, slides, and some original documents. This video was copied from the original VHS master tape, so sit back and enjoy a 30-minute trip down memory lane.
St. John's Presbyterian Church. In Reno, Nevada. Worshipping regularly. Giving generously. Serving eagerly. And living worthily. St. John's Presbyterian Church, a church reformed and always reforming. How did this church begin? (1948), post-World War II America, a time when millions of people turned to God. We were grateful for deliverance from a terrible evil and fearful of the horrific new weapons humanity had created. New churches sprang up across the country, and one was in Reno, Nevada. October 10th, 1948. The church that was to become St. John's was born. 64 people were in attendance at the 20th Century Club in downtown Reno for our first worship service. The next year, we held an organizing meeting in January. There were 105 charter members. The Reverend Rafe C. Martin was our first pastor. Sunday school was held at the YWCA. We began the work of the Lord immediately. These two young girls were our first baptisms. The new decade brought tremendous growth and opportunity for our church. We began meeting in the larger Reno Little Theater until a church could be built. The land our church was built on was donated by a member and located in the growing southwest area of Reno. We were thinking big. A model of the future church is close to what we have today. The first building, what is now our social hall, was built by the sweat and labor of our members and by the power of the Holy Spirit. It opened in 1952. The 1950s and 60s were a time of continued growth. We sent Representative Peggy English to a General Assembly in the old Presbyterian Church of the United States of America. And we built a Sunday school wing. Our second pastor, the Reverend William Clausen, was called in 1961. Our members gathered together for worship and prayer. For singing, for fellowship, and for learning. These were good times for our church and our service to Jesus Christ, in all seasons and in all weather. The Spirit of the Lord was at work. In 1969, ground was broken for our current sanctuary. And a new phase of our church's life began. The new building rose against the backdrop of the Sierra. As our hopes rose for our continued service to the Lord. At last, we consecrated the sanctuary to the glory of God. Our stained glass windows remind us of our dedication to Jesus Christ. Our congregation moved forward into the 1970s, a decade of great change. And in 1973, St. John's called our third pastor, the Reverend Bill Barrett. Our joy in worship and fellowship continued in our new sanctuary. On the night of February 24th, 1976, a 5-alarm fire burned down the Sunday school building at St. John's. Members still talk about the terrible impact the fire had on them. But the destruction of a building could not destroy the spirit of God's people. Within a year, the church school building had been rebuilt, and our ministry continued. In the late 1970s, the members of St. John's saw a need in the community to create a safe and faith-friendly environment for our children. We started an after-school program and later a preschool, heeding Jesus' call to let the children come unto me. That ministry continues today at the St. John's Child Care Center. The 1980s and 90s brought new challenges and new opportunities. We sent our children to camp. And our music program continued to expand. We shepherded a new Korean American congregation. The holidays are a wonderful opportunity to teach about our faith and involve our youth. We went on to modernize our kitchen, and in 1993 we called our fourth pastor, the Reverend Ned H. Benson. Our members gathered together for worship and prayer. We built a new wing for our child care center. And we created Barrett Park. Our music program includes a strong choir, many guest musicians, and children's voices, all lifted in songs to the glory of God. We minister to youth with fellowship groups and a tutoring program. Our MOPS program ministers to mothers of preschoolers and their children throughout the community. Our fellowship groups for adults, mariners, singles, Presbyterian women, and college and career groups help forge bonds among the faithful. We have an active and vibrant church school for both our children and for adults. We moved our library from Martin Hall into a renovated area in the Sunday school wing. Sunday services bring people together in a warm and friendly environment. We minister to people in need with the Stevens Ministry Program. Our prayer tree, and our work at shelters and community groups throughout Reno. And our contribution to mission groups throughout the world. And our pastors lead us in our spiritual path. St. John's Church, 50 years old but only just starting, worshiping regularly, giving generously, serving eagerly, and living faithfully in the Holy Spirit, now and into the new millennium. We thank God for our lives, our families, and the work of St. John's Church.